Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from thousands of successful individuals from around the world. I'm your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm delighted to welcome a young and accomplished entrepreneur from Noida, India, Mr. Naman Gupta. Naman, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to be a part of the community.
Thank you. Naman is the founder and director of Code Effort Pvt Ltd, which is a company focused on managing cigarette waste disposal. So, now, my first question, what was the inspiration to start addressing the problem of cigarette waste? And how did Code Effort Private Limited come into being?
I'll give you a brief background. The entire journey started in the year 2018,
Hmm.
where when I was in my third year, I was doing BCom from Delhi University.
Hmm.
And while I was in my third year, I noticed this problem of cigarettes and cigarette waste across the entire Delhi
Yeah.
NCR region.
Hmm.
It's a common problem because people smoke in each and every part of the country and even outside India. So at that time, through our identification of the problem, I just somehow started researching on, is there an existing recycler or is there a proper waste disposal regulation available in the Indian market. And through
Hmm.
our research, unfortunately, in 2018, neither there was an existing recycler of this waste, but also there were no specific policies as well as the bins to dispose the cigarette butts. So
Hmm.
this was the start for us, and we took around 6 to 8 months to build a technology to recycle cigarette butts and use it for another further applications and build sustainable merchandise out of it.
Oh, amazing. Thank you. And can you, for my viewers and listeners, share the scale and environmental impact of cigarette waste in India and globally?
Correct. So, in terms of the environmental impact, and all of us, even when we started, we were not aware on the environmental impact that the cigarette waste has.
Hmm.
But when we researched and went on field to understand the quantum of the problem, we came across a few numbers such
Hmm.
as in India, more than 10,000 crore, that is equivalent to around 100 billion cigarettes are being consumed, and the cigarette butts are thrown away as general litter in India annually. So
Hmm.
this is just the annual number for India. If we talk about the global quantum, more than 4.5 trillion cigarette butts end up as general
Wow.
litter
Every year.
every year. This is
Right.
a year-on-year problem.
Hmm.
And not just that, in terms of volume, in India, because we focus on India and the Indian market
Yeah.
right now.
Hmm.
So in India, if we calculate in terms of volume, so 10,000 crore or 100 billion cigarette butts will weigh approximately 26,000 tons of cigarette butts alone.
Wow.
And if we do the back calculation, every second, just in India, I'm saying, every second we are generating approximately 3,000 cigarette butts. So every second we are generating this much. And cigarette butts, because it comes from a non-biodegradable item, it is a man-made fiber which
Hmm.
looks very similar to cotton. So
Hmm.
this takes more than 10 to 12 years to decompose naturally. And because it's a very good absorber, so it absorbs more than 7,000 effluents and toxic chemicals, out of which more than 50 are cancer causing.
Wow.
So these chemicals also leach out in the soil and the water, which is another problem. So one cigarette butt can contaminate minimum to minimum 500 ml of water and up to 25 liters of water. So this is the environmental impact
Amazing.
for the Indian and the global market.
Amazing. Amazing. And moving further, what are some of the toxic chemicals present in cigarette waste? And what are their effects on marine and terrestrial life? And we, of course, know what cigarettes do to human beings.
Correct. So it's people say that cigarette smoking is injurious to health.
Hmm.
That is correct. But the waste that is generated after smoking, that is the cigarette butts,
Hmm.
are even more dangerous for the environment and the future generation.
Hmm.
Because, like I mentioned, in one cigarette butt, we trap cigarette butts, the fiber that is inside. That's a very good absorber. That's the
Hmm.
characteristics of the fiber that it will absorb a lot of effluents.
Hmm.
And before smoking, the filter is as natural white. but after smoking it turns yellowish or brownish
Right.
in color. This happens because it has trapped a lot of effluents.
Mm.
And in number wise, more than 7,000 chemicals get trapped, out of which some of them are arsenic, butane, carbon monoxide, tar, and everything is still very low in
Mm.
when it comes in the hazardous impact or these kinds of things. And
Mm.
out of 7,000, more than 50 are cancer causing.
Wow.
So if these get leached out in the soil, so it not just makes the soil infertile, but also if it comes in contact with water, so the marine species misconcept it with food and ingest it, and they die out of it. So there
Mm.
are cases and there are proper evidences that a marine species or a fish or something which has eaten cigarette butt has unfortunately died. So it
Mm.
is a deadly component, and it's a, I can say, a ticking time bomb, because these look very small, but they have a big environmental impact, because eventually it breaks down in microplastics and then nanoplastics. So we don't know if it's entering the human body and the
Mm.
entire entire humanity, either directly or indirectly.
Amazing.
So
Thank you.
that's the impact.
But Naman, for my viewers and listeners, tell us what is the process you follow? I mean, wherever we go, we see hundreds and thousands of cigarette butts all over the roads.
Correct.
From there to your making and repurposing them into such amazing products, just take us through the process.
Process is very simple. Like the process that we have built is based on the feedback and the customer requirements. Like
Mm.
and this thing I have learned through my experience, that whoever is doing any kind of business or trying to solve any problem,
Mm.
understand what the customer requires, or the or how the feedback is given by the end user, because that helps you in building your model to a greater scale, and that will actually resonate with the end consumer.
Mm.
So in our case, we first built a technology to recycle cigarette butts.
Mm.
And after recycling, we went into the market. This is close to 6 years back, 2018.
Mm.
So Code Effort has built an end-to-end solution where we first procure the cigarette butts. For procurement, we have multiple strategies. I'll explain you. After procurement, we do the processing, or we can say the recycling, and then
Mm.
the after recycling or processing, we do the production of the finished
Mm.
products.
Mm.
Now, so this is a 3P process that we follow in a nutshell.
Mm.
Now, if we talk about the procurement, for procurement, when we started approaching smoking zones of the proper commercial spaces, and we started talking to cigarette shop vendors who sell tea and cigarettes to their
Mm.
end
Mm.
consumers.
Mm.
So they had a simple notion that we can help you in collecting. We can
Mm.
ask our people to, all the smokers who come to buy the cigarettes and smoke at our
Mm.
location, we can politely ask them to dispose the cigarette butts into the bin, but please provide us a bin. We
Mm.
don't have a bin, because if we ask them to put it into a normal trash bin, the entire bin can catch fire. So
Right.
give us a small bin outside India, like in the Western countries and the European countries, even in Malaysia, Singapore, you'll find specific bins made just
Awesome.
to dispose cigarettes.
Correct.
But in India, there was nothing like it.
Mm.
So this was the feedback that we got, and then we started giving small bins and receptacles to people so that they can put it on their shop, and the smokers can dispose the cigarette butt into that bin. And that
Mm.
also act as a branding and an awareness campaign for the company, like a
Mm.
free marketing. You
Yeah.
don't know on the shop if it's a manager level person or a CEO level person or
Mm.
a normal person.
Correct.
So the awareness was holistic and mass scale.
Mm.
So not just that helped us in procuring and creating a segregation at source, but also acted as a brand awareness and a marketing for free,
Interesting.
24/7 marketing for us. So this is
Mm.
how we procure. Along with that, we work very closely with the rack picker community in India, because you already know that the rack picker community is an unorganized market in India.
Completely. Yeah.
95% is an unorganized market.
Mm.
And the rack picker community is more concerned on the sellability aspect of any kind of raw material, be
Absolutely.
it plastics or e-waste or glass, even paper, recycled
Mm.
paper. Like they call out, like you can sell your waste paper or plastics. So
Mm.
similarly, we have commoditized cigarette butts, and we provide an incentive to our rack pickers who
Hmm.
help us in collecting these cigarette butts from the normal trash.
Hmm.
So this way, for now, like within these 6 years, in terms of the bins, we have installed more than 2 lakh bins across 250 districts in India.
Hmm.
And right now, within these 6 years, we have mobilized more than 2,500 plus rack pickers by giving them incentives so that we can collect quantities on a larger scale. We
Hmm.
started with 30 to 40 grams of cigarette butts daily. Right now, we are recycling around 6 to 7 million cigarette butts daily.
Wow.
So that's just 2% of the total waste that
Hmm.
India is generating when it
Hmm.
comes to cigarette butts. So this is the procurement. After that,
Incredible.
we have
Yeah.
an automated process to recycle cigarette butts.
Hmm.
So for that, we disintegrate all the three components: paper, fiber, and tobacco.
Hmm.
Tobacco is converted into compost powder, which we sell to the nearby gardens and nurseries. The paper covering that we get, we make mosquito repellents as well as a recycled paper from the waste paper that we get. The recycled paper is used to make carry bags, envelopes, and a wrapping paper. And
Hmm.
the third component, that is the filter. Initially, we started with the home decor items, keychains, toys, where we were using the fibers as stuffing. But since 2021, we have expanded our product portfolio,
Hmm.
and right now doing yarns, textiles, another automated paper, as well as mannequins out of the fiber. So
That's
the portfolio has increased, and that has given us a good commercial viability aspect.
incredible. Incredible. And then how did you come up with the idea of recycling cigarette waste into products like home decor and toys?
That was a basic idea because when we started and we had the technology to recycle them, but we
Hmm.
didn't have the network and we didn't have the knowledge or experience, I can say, to build commercially viable products.
Hmm.
Toys and home decor are definitely a good item, no
Right.
doubt about it.
Hmm.
But the amount of design element that is there, because as an individual, you might have a specific choice that I need the toy of this size or
Hmm.
this color or this shape.
Hmm.
And another person, another client might have another requirement, like I need a red or I need a blue or
Hmm.
even pink. So in terms of colors, there are almost 16 million colors,
Right.
shades. So we cannot do each and every color, and sizes are there, designs are
Hmm.
there.
Hmm.
So toys and home decor items, there we were just using the fiber as stuffing
Hmm.
instead of using normal cotton or some polyfill material. We use our recycled fibers to stuff, and the outer cover and the outer fabric
Hmm.
is sourced from the local market. But
Right.
after a few years, like 2 years down the line, by 2021, we realized that we need to come up with a product which has higher demand and which doesn't have multiple designs. So
Hmm.
at that time, we started making paper and textiles and yarns, which had a higher volume requirement, and that helped us in scaling up the entire business of Code Effort.
Amazing. 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 My next question is that, you have put 250,000 collection bins, but this also needs a behavior change among smokers. I mean,
Correct.
even now I see people in high-rise buildings, smoking a cigarette and just tossing it out of the balcony or throwing
Correct.
it on the road. Are you doing anything to be able to encourage change of behavior that, just like if I have a waste piece of paper, I put it back in my pocket. Is something like that happening for cigarette butts also?
Yes. So consumer behavior change is a slow process.
Correct.
And if you want a consumer behavior change, then uh, awareness should go hand in hand.
Hmm.
Because if people are not aware, like
Correct.
I'll give you a small example. When India wanted to eliminate polio, so the government ran mass
Yeah.
awarenesses.
Hmm.
They roped in all kinds of celebrities
I
like
know.
Amitabh Bachchan and Sachin Tendulkar. So that resolved the problem, but that also took time, right? And right now India is polio free.
Yeah.
So this is just an example to give you an idea that if we want to bring a consumer behavior change, so we as a company, Code Effort, we have limitations. Like we can reach out and we invest a lot towards awareness campaigns, and we keep on running drives to make people understand that cigarette butt is also a problem, and it should have a proper appropriate disposal option.
Right.
But because there are no bins, so even though we have installed more than 2 lakh bins or 250,000 bins across India, this initiative needs to come from the government's end.
Mm.
So it has a long way to go.
Mm.
Definitely, you will see change in the coming time. But
Sure.
yes, awareness needs to be there. And just like we are trying to do, and you as a the brand called you company. Similarly, like if more and more people start talking about it and
Mm.
start addressing the problem, then definitely the time that we need to create this awareness and bring about the consumer change might get done faster.
Mm.
So it's a mass movement. Like
Yeah,
when I say code effort is a collective effort. It's
absolutely.
not my
No,
individual effort.
no, you're absolutely
So,
right. And something
huh,
as big a challenge as this cannot be done by one
individually,
organizations.
correct.
Absolutely. I agree with
It
that. I
should
agree
be a
with
mass movement.
you. But can you also tell me what are some of the campaigns or collaborations that you have found to be most effective to spread your message? And are the cigarette companies also willing to participate in this?
Yes, the most effective for us is NGOs,
Hmm.
because NGOs are the community which they have multiple benefits. Firstly, they have a good volunteer base. So I'll give you an example. Let's Do It. Let's Do It is a worldwide organization which has a Let's Do It India counterpart.
Hmm.
So with Let's Do It India, we have run three, four campaigns so far,
Hmm.
and they have a volunteer base of more than 2.6 million volunteers just in India. So if we as a company, if we start doing these campaigns on an individual level, we won't be able to achieve the impact.
Absolutely. Hmm.
But by working with NGOs like these, Let's Do It and Connecting Dreams Foundation, CGAP, CPH, so these are registered organizations. They work on creating awareness. They run initiatives where they upskill people, like skill
Hmm.
development initiatives are also there,
Hmm.
and a lot of corporate companies tie up and collaborate in bringing out this awareness activity. So
Hmm.
this is how we work also, so that the entire communication and the entire awareness can be done not just in tier 1 tier 2 cities, but it can also reach to tier 4 tier 5 cities, like
Hmm.
very remote locations. And so far we have been able to sensitize more than 500 million plus people
Hmm.
within these 6 years through our
Hmm.
awareness campaigns and
Hmm.
initiatives like these.
Hmm. The other fact, Naman, which is very fascinating about this business, the cigarette industry, is that it continues to see increasing demand.
Hmm. Correct.
And for the last 40 years, I have been hearing it's a sunrise industry, not a sunset industry.
Hmm.
My question is, how do you tackle the increasing demand for cigarette filters and waste management globally, and how supportive are the cigarette manufacturers?
Right. So, uh, more than cigarette manufacturers, the government has started taking action now.
Hmm.
Because in India, India is the only country where, like, if you see a pack of cigarette,
Hmm.
almost 65 to
Yeah,
70% needs a proper messaging that cigarettes
absolutely.
is harmful.
Yeah.
And in November 2022, the
Hmm.
government, like the Central Pollution Control Board, has given out a notification
Hmm.
clearly mentioning that cigarette butts also needs to be managed,
Hmm.
and the cigarette manufacturing companies have a responsibility to mention that you need to dispose the cigarette butts on each and every packet. I don't
Hmm.
know if it's implemented right now, like it's a very new policy that has come out, which is in favor of our cigarette butt waste management
Hmm. Hmm.
organization.
Hmm.
But yes, there are initiatives, and now the cigarette manufacturing companies and government has starting taking action to resolve this problem of cigarette butts. And definitely by 2030 you'll see a lot of action and a lot of communication around
Hmm.
the entire cigarette butt waste problem. And definitely this has a, as a company Code Effort, where we are recycling cigarette
Very
butts,
interesting.
it has a good scope. And definitely globally, because cigarette companies who manufacture cigarettes, not just they are paying taxes, but also they are making a product which is a sin product. We call it
Correct.
a sin product.
Correct.
So they are providing products which is harmful for the health of the public as well as the
Hmm.
environment. So they
Hmm.
are obligated and they have the responsibilities. But to implement these activities or these policies, these responsibilities, you need to have a backup policy coming directly from the government.
Hmm.
If we go to approach cigarette companies, they
Hmm.
might not consider us.
Absolutely.
But
You know,
if
the
there's a
government has done
government, then
this.
definitely.
Government did this for plastic waste. They said that for every
Correct.
chips packet sold, the manufacturer has to give this much money extra.
Correct.
So maybe that's an area which someday will come in our country. Naman, I have time for two or three more questions.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about over the years, what is the measurable impact Code Effort has been able to make?
Correct. So, in terms of we Code Effort is a sustainable organization. Like
Yeah.
we focus on sustainability and social as well as economic impact. So we are not just working on the environment aspect.
Hmm.
We are also trying to do our bit in terms of social upliftment.
Hmm.
So within these 6 years, if we talk about the environmental impact, we have recycled more than 10 billion, which is almost 1,000 crore cigarette butts
Hmm.
just in Indian market. And by recycling these 10 billion cigarette butts, we have been able to save almost 250 billion liters of water from contamination,
Wow.
as well as give life to more than 400,000 species, marine species.
Hmm.
And because one cigarette butt can generates almost 40 grams of carbon footprint. So by recycling 10 billion, so we have been able to offset more than 400 billion grams of carbon
Hmm.
footprint that can help us in reducing the climate change.
Hmm.
So this is the environmental impact. But apart from that, because we work very closely with the below poverty line and marginalized people and
Hmm.
rural women artisans, so within these 6 years, we have been able to mobilize more than 2,500 plus rack pickers who are getting incentives, and they have seen a 7 to 10% increment in their income.
Amazing.
So that's a contribution that our company is giving.
Hmm.
And through our initiative, like we have more than 100 plus rural women artisans working with us who help us in manufacturing the finished products like toys and home decor
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
handicrafts. So through that, we have been able to empower more than 100 women, and it also helps in rural upliftment.
Amazing.
Because if we want to grow as a country,
Hmm.
we need to grow the rural
Correct.
segment of India. If the rural segment is strong, then the urban segment will also flourish. That's what
Absolutely.
I have experienced.
Absolutely.
So
And you're very right.
huh,
And you're very, very right.
that's been the impact from us.
Amazing. One amazing impact. And as you said, this is just the beginning. You only started in 2018. And my
Correct.
last question for you, Naman, what is a message you would like to give to our viewers and listeners about the importance of addressing cigarette waste?
Right. So I have a very small message because we heavily advocate on quit smoking. So if people can quit, then definitely that's the best thing that can happen for for the entire good. Okay. But till the time that is not happening, so our humble request is that please start disposing the waste wisely.
Hmm.
Appropriate disposal is
Yeah.
important for us to manage and recycle the waste,
Hmm.
as well as start supporting not just Code Effort who is recycling cigarette butts, but please start supporting as a community and as individuals. Please start supporting all those companies who are trying to do their bit in terms of climate change, who are bringing up solutions and bringing out products which are sustainable and made from either recycled materials or organic materials, so that it can have a larger impact. And also start taking action towards climate change, and let's make it a mass movement so that our future generation is happy and uh, believes that their previous generation did something
Hmm.
worthy of appreciation and
Amazing.
notice. So that's my
Amazing.
simple
And
message.
on that very, very powerful message, Naman, thank you so much for speaking to me about uh, Code Effort. It was fascinating to learn how you just, in your third year of college, you suddenly realized that this is such a major challenge that you picked up the gauntlet and decided, I'm going to take this and build it into a whole company. Thank you for sharing with us the impact. I didn't realize it is such a major impact that is there in terms of number of butts around the world. I think you figure you gave us some 4 trillion, if I
More
remember.
than 4.5. Yes.
4.45 trillion. Um, Thank you for talking to me about how you are recycling, what is the process that you do. And thank you also for talking to me about the whole process of collecting. I think it is so fascinating. You're probably setting up an incredible distribution network where people are going to deposit their cigarette butts and you go and picking it up. And also, thank you for talking to me about all the work that you're doing for the 2,500 rack pickers. Thank you again for speaking to me and good luck to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me and giving us this opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.